I'm up for it. Hey guys, welcome back to the Hit Up podcast. This week for grand final week.
Yeah,
Finally,
let's go.
finally we're at grand final weekend. Today we do not have Connor because of a lot of technical difficulties, which we won't get into on the show. Let's just say we've done this intro 3 or 4 times, so I'm keen for this one to be the last one. But yeah,
Yeah.
so it's just gonna be me and Liam for today. So how you doing, Liam?
I'm excited for some finals footy. Grand final, baby. It's going to be a
Yeah.
sick game. I'm so glad the Storm aren't in it. How good is that?
Storm hater Liam, here he is. No. Yeah, it's good. Every time the Storm aren't in it, it makes
Mm.
it the grand final always seems a lot closer. Sometimes it isn't, obviously, but it always seems like it's going to be a lot more
I don't
competitive.
I don't think it's more. I guess with the Storm over the last few years, just of how successful they've been, I think it's more that a team that looks like they're going to win it from the start, who have been so successful out of the whole year. I just feel like it's a better grand final, a better game for fans. Even if you aren't a Panthers or a Rabbitohs fan, it's just more exciting to see a team that's doing so well lose. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I was definitely happy with the Panthers result because, as mentioned, the Nathan Cleary, Clive Churchill bet that I did
Mm,
before the finals, because my Warriors obviously got eliminated, I thought I need
yeah.
something to root for these finals. So
Mm.
he was paying $7, so I chucked some money on that. So let's hope Cleary wins Clive Churchill. But who will look at the other contenders really quickly? Obviously, halves. So I think Reynolds, Walker, Cleary, probably not Luai. Any other ideas we have? Oh, the hookers, maybe Cook
Yeah,
and
Hogger.
Carousel. But
Yeah.
hookers don't tend to win it normally. It's pretty rare,
No.
but I could see
Mm.
Carousel or Cook, maybe Cameron Murray, Kikau,
Yeah.
maybe,
Yeah. Mm.
and
It'll be an interesting. I feel like if you don't give it to Cleary, someone's got to have a spectacular game, like score a hat trick or fucking heaps of run meters, heaps of try saving tackles. I don't know. It's just they've got to have an outstanding game if you don't give it to Cleary. So
yeah.
it'll be a good game to watch. I think it'll be. I'm just so excited for this game. But
I
yeah.
Oh, sorry. I said that week one, after week one of the finals, I'm like, I want the grand final to be Panthers Rabbitohs, just because remember
Mm,
after week one, all the
yeah.
beef between Wayne Bennett, and Ivan Cleary. I was like, I
Mm,
want it to happen. And obviously, there was a lot of drama between the two sides. So I'm actually really happy it's actually happened. Obviously,
definitely.
Wayne Bennett's last game for the Rabbitohs,
Yeah.
obviously, they're letting him go. So
Is
it's
he
kind
going to
of
retire or is he going to go somewhere else?
there's talks that he'll have a break for next year and then
Yeah.
be the head coach of the new Brisbane, the 17th Brisbane NRL side.
Ooh.
That's the rumors at the moment, which would be pretty sick because
Ooh.
for a new club. But
Mm.
you would think they would try and put him out a winner at South, get him another premiership, which he doesn't have too many of. No, he's won a lot. So
Yeah.
he should get up for that. But
Mm.
he'd probably be the greatest of all time at the moment. Bellamy obviously has a bit to say
Bellamy's.
about, but the
Yeah.
longevity Bennett's
I
had
think,
is
yeah, if you go back and hit like last, what, 10 years, 15 years, like you got to say it, like Bennett's way up there. And Bellamy's making a name in the last 5 years now. But I reckon if Bellamy keeps going with success, if he made it this year, I reckon 3 years in a row, that would have been a good one to talk about. But yeah, Wayne Bennett's just got to be, I reckon, got to be up there for one of the greatest of all time.
it's like I read a thing. Did you know that he has been made a grand final in the last 5 decades now? 5 consecutive decades he's made the grand final. So
What?
I think as the Raiders coach or Raiders assistant coach in the
Mm.
80s, Broncos in the 90s, Broncos in the 2000s, Dragons in the 2010s, and now Souths in 2020s. So that's very impressive for.
Ooh, yeah,
And
jeez.
you'd hope the Rabbitohs could send him out a winner, but
Mm.
that's just one storyline going into it. I've got another one. There's
Oh,
another
here we
saying
go.
I have. You
Oh,
cannot win, you cannot win the premiership if you have conceded 50 points or more in the regular season. And Souths have done it twice, one time to the Penrith Panthers. So, Liam, my question is, can the Rabbitohs rewrite history, or will it be continued that a team that concedes 50 points in the season cannot win the grand final?
See, this is a really interesting question to ask because I've actually been thinking a lot about it. Like, for me personally, any sports game, whatever happens on the field is different. It's a unique game. Anything can happen. Say, like, cricket is a great example because you never know what's going to happen in that sport. But when we're talking about rugby league, like, obviously there are so many favourites. Like, you wouldn't, if you saw a team like the Bulldogs go up against the Storm, you know who's going to win, like, especially for this season. But talking about these two teams, just because they've been so consistent and so, like, just so good all throughout the year, they've had some weak moments, both teams have, but they've also had really high moments. And to get to the finals, both of them have just had such a tough journey, especially the Rabbitohs. And then the Panthers and oh my God, with the Eels and now the Storm, like, that was such a journey to go through. But I just feel like I'm not going to base it on history. I feel like this game's going to be unique. Anything could happen. You never know. The Rabbitohs could score early and put pressure on the Panthers, and it'll be an interesting game. They'll have to fight back. But I don't know. I feel like they could potentially break the curse, but you never know what's going to happen in a game of footy. So
Yeah, that's the thing. They've actually played each other. I think this will be the fourth time they've played each other this year, which is pretty insane considering you only, at max, you can play them the regular season twice, and they obviously played. So we'll just give the viewers a recap. So we remember they obviously played the Rabbitohs in round 11, won 56-12, the Panthers. And then the Panthers played them again just before the regular season ended, won 25-12. Then in the finals, where it mattered most, the Rabbitohs won 16-10 in week 1. And now for the fourth time this year, they're playing each other. So can you go off current, like, the form they've had over the season? I don't really think you can, to be honest, but
I see a lot of pattern going on there with the 12 score with the Rabbitohs. I don't know what that's about. Maybe they love the magic number 12.
Yeah, I don't know. You don't even score 12.
But look, it's unusual to see teams play each other 4 times in the season, as you said, max two in the regular season, and it's just luck of the draw. So I think each team will have a lot of knowledge since they've played each other so many times. And so it'll be really tough because all the analysts that goes into the games after like watching past games, watching tactics, all this sort of thing goes into it. Like, they'll have so much first-hand knowledge because they've played each other so many times. And the Rabbitohs will have a bit of confidence winning round 1 of the finals. But look, I don't know. It's going to be a tough one. It's hard to call. But yeah, definitely it should be. I'm looking forward to this grand final. It's one of the grand finals I'm most looking forward to over the last few years.
Yeah, I think that one big, like, there's so many storylines in this game, which we will go into. As I don't really want to talk about, like, players and stuff. Not players, I'm meaning, like, like, matchups. I don't want to go real into that. I want to go into the storylines because that's what I love about sport, is the storylines. So I think another big storyline is, I think the player that played really well against the Rabbitohs in the finals of week 1 was Tavita Pangai Jr. He's obviously out now for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever they say. I thought it was really selfless of what he did to give Spencer Lanu not it's hard to describe the words, the sort of heads up, I guess, because if it was me in that situation, I would be fitness test. I would take it to that Saturday night. I would take it that. But he told him on Monday or Tuesday, I'm not going to be fit. You get ready to play this grand final, which it's such a better headspace to be in. I think, like, you play a lot of sport as well, Liam. Would you?
Yeah.
It's such a boost.
So yeah, especially playing sport, I've been selected for teams where you're told the night before, and that mindset, you've got to. So I could be eating dinner, eating junk food, eating my happy food, and then you just got to switch on and say, all right, I need to be in game time for 6 p.m. tomorrow. Like, and that just completely changes your mind, cancels all your plans, everything. Like, I know all these players have to keep their schedule open, so I'm just talking about from a casual player point of view, but it's just the mindset is really similar. So if you were told at the start of the week, you have a lot of mental preparation that can be done, which helps the game, because I think mental is a huge part of the game. Like all this, like you can get to a certain point in your fitness and your physical aspects, but you're never your body can't push itself any further. No matter how hard you try, you're going to always reach this point. But if you can set your mind to anything, it's going to push that limit even higher. So giving him the heads up was the right thing to do. And I think it was such a good thing of him to do. Like I would hate missing the grand final, but for the sake of my team, I would definitely say, hey coach, look, I'm not 100%. I don't want to play if I'm not 100% because I don't want to ruin our chances. So I think I think we should give him a hand and say, hey, look, you've done the right thing.
I think that it's definitely the best option. It's something that especially with it being a 3-week injury, it's like he was probably no chance anyway. But we'll go on to another sort of storyline that as Kiwis, we obviously love the great Benji Marshall. He won us a few Four Nations, won us that World Cup in 2008 as captain. So
up the Marshall.
It is inspirational, Benji Marshall. He still hasn't confirmed it is his retirement game. A lot of people are speculating. He's now saying he might stay on for next year, but how cool is it that he won the grand final 2005 and now in 2021 he's playing in another one?
Look, from a Kiwi point of view, because this game was born in Australia, was the NRL it used to be called the Australian Rugby League, or instead of before NRL. And now that we have a Kiwi team in it, and hopefully we get more in it, which would like a Wellington team. Like, come on, how we need that. A Wellington team would just be so good. But look, it's a great thing to see a Kiwi player in the game, and especially all these other nationalities in the game as well. But yeah, from a Kiwi point of view, it's so great to see. Like, I would love to see him win another grand final. Like, that would be such an accomplishment for Kiwi sports. But look, he's not too old where he doesn't know what he's doing. He's probably one of the great minds in the game at the moment. He's so technical, knows what to do, knows how the game's evolving, knows how to play and adapt to the game today. But I don't know. I feel like a lot more players, just because he's getting on and getting old, he's not too old. I shouldn't call him old. I just feel a lot more younger players are far better. They may not be as technical and as skillful, these players, but the younger players are just so more faster and so more dynamic than some of these players who just grew up playing the game 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So it'll be an interesting battle between young and old, and I hate using the word old again, but it's just, if he wins, it'll just show that it doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, how fit you are, you can still do it if you got the skill.
Yeah, 100%. It's obviously him being on the bench is a big help. I don't think he would be able to play full games all the time.
Hell no. But yeah, just before we go on with some more stories with the grand final coming up, I just want to mention just a few extra stories for that have happened in the NRL recently in the news, and I just want to get your opinions on them since you're a Warriors fan, Josh. And I know this has been a big controversy in the news and the media, but obviously I want to talk about Reece Walsh. So in the
news, let me talk about the grand final.
well, obviously we'll talk about the two Storm players as well, which could have been, but especially with the Dally-Ins coming up. I'll ask you this: do you think it's unfair that Reece Walsh has been stripped for contention of the Rookie of the Year?
I was really pissed about it, but I heard. And it would have been good if they gave clarification. Apparently, he was never going to win the Dally-In Rookie of the Year because he got suspended too many times this year.
Ooh.
But that happened with a few other guys, is that certain players weren't even eligible for positional awards because if you get suspended 2 or more times in the season, you're ineligible for every award.
Wow.
But that's what I know. I thought the same thing.
I didn't know that.
I thought Walsh was dropped, but because of the drug incident, but apparently no, it's because of I had no idea about it. But yeah, so that's actually the reason, which it would have been good if we knew about that, everyone just assumes it's because of the thing, but him and the Storm, it's just disappointing, like he's as young as us, Liam, and we got him if we're in town one night, someone offers us it. We might do it. Like, I'm not saying I will, I'm not saying I won't, but same age as us, the amount of pressure he's under to be this wonder kid and chosen one for the
Yeah.
Warriors. I think it's obviously you don't want him to do it, but it was more just an experience thing. Like if you get told by the police to go, just go to your house
Just
and do it.
go. Or they didn't even tell him
It's
to go away. They just told him to move on, which means
yeah,
just drop the situation. And that, like, I'm a one when I'm out on town, or even in any situation when I'm talking with friends and confrontation comes up or an argument comes up. I will have my opinion and I will try and get my point across, but at the same time, if it's escalating, I'm going to drop it. Like, I don't want to push it too far where people are going to get in trouble. I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to cause shit. And I just feel like in his situation, he's still young. He's learning. I get that, but he does have a responsibility through the Warriors, through their sponsors, through the fans, through around the game to just I'm trying to search the word here, like, I guess represent this culture and community. So it is a shame to see, but at the same time, he has come out with a genuine apology. He's been crying in the media, and I know it's gonna haunt him for probably the next few years of his career. And it is, I don't the one thing I don't get though is that he was the only one there and the only one doing it. He was alone. It's
a
just
good background.
it's something you say just to make the media happy and the coaches and the staff happy. So I don't know, but yeah. Sorry, we're gonna have a bit of a tangent, but yeah, I still need to get that, mate.
Made me go to my negative side, Liam. I thought it was just a grand final preview. No, that's fine. If we'll do a few more storylines of the grand final, then we'll go with our picks for the grand
Yeah.
final. So another thing is obviously Adam Reynolds' last game for his home club. He was a young kid when he started playing for the Rabbitohs. I remember hearing about him when he was like a young 11, 12-year-old about this kid coming through South. So
Yeah.
it's extremely disappointing on how it ended up finishing, but it would be the best thing to finish off with a premiership, like that's the perfect send off. I
Fuck
think he's gonna
yes.
be amazing for Brisbane next year, but
Yeah.
you got to think that they're going to get up for him and that
Mm.
he'll put his best foot forward for the Rabbitohs to win this.
Yep.
100%.
Oh, I totally agree. Like, starting out in a club so young, you dream of playing with. Like you said, 11, 12. Like, that's just such a young age to be playing and being the super Bowl wonder kid. That's the word. And if you leave a club's winning a premiership, that would just be the best feeling. He's not. Is he retiring or is he moving on to a club?
He's going the Broncos next
Broncos,
year.
that's right.
Yeah.
So so moving on with a club you've grown up watching, grown up loving, I just feel like it's going to be the best feeling in the world. So I do hope for him, but yeah, you never know. As I said, anything could happen.
Do you think I've heard a lot of Rabbitohs fans talking about this? Obviously, Bennett wanted to keep him, but then Bennett obviously got told he's moving on. So the new coach, Dimitru, he didn't want Reynolds part of his plans at all. Do you think he's regretting that now that they've made such a big title charge? Like, do you think he'd be regretting that decision now, or?
Look, so we talked about, I can't remember when this was. I'm pretty sure we brought it up in one of the previous podcasts that when you sign for another club, your mindset goes, especially when it's the next season coming up, your mindset goes, oh, this club doesn't want me anymore. I'm moving on. What do I do? Like, I don't really want to play. But at the same time, when a grand final's on stake, you want to win. I don't think that mindset will change. I think Adam Reynolds will give his best, and I reckon he's going to have a really good game and actually prove to them why he should stay.
Yeah,
and I will think the new would you say his name was
Dimitru, I think.
Yeah,
I'm sure on that, but
yeah. I think the new coach will actually regret losing Reynolds as a player. He's so knowledgeable at the game. He's so technical and so good at the game, especially now it's got so fast and so technical and fast paced. I think it'll be a loss for the Rabbitohs next year, and I think they'll still do well, but I just don't think they'll be able to develop many players as good as they could have with the likes of Adam Reynolds in the team.
Yeah, 100%. It's one of those things where it's obviously hindsight. Like, I love bringing in my Warriors examples. Like the Warriors, 2011 said, I told Ivan Cleary, we don't want you next year. And then when we were struggling, we were in 12th. And then all of a sudden, come 7th, go all the way to the grand final and make the grand final. And then that's a massive threat. But that's why I'm not a fan of making such big decisions so early on in a season, because anything can happen. But we'll go back to talk about Penrith, because we've done a lot of Rabbitohs talk to a few Penrith storylines.
Yeah.
One thing that I really think is a big factor in this is I think this is Penrith's not last chance. Obviously, they've got such good young talent, but this could be the best side they ever have. Matt Burton's going the Bulldogs. Kurt Capewell's going the Broncos. Those two are just insane players for them. Is this the, I'm not going to say last chance, but is this the best chance to win without the Storm being the grand final? Is this their best chance to win a grand final as well? Another question I'm going to give you.
Look, I was actually talking to a friend of mine about this, and he was saying that there's a saying that goes around, and the saying is you got to lose a grand final to win a grand final.
Really?
So for your listeners out there, that's an iconic saying that gets said in the NRL for tens of years. It's been around so long, and it's just, I feel like this year definitely their best chance to win a grand final. 100% with a Storm out. Like, if we take, like, I just don't feel like the Panthers took it easy in round one. I thought like they were going to fly through. That was their mindset. They were just going to get into the one, and they were just working on building up to the Storm game. And once they lost it, the first round, then they had to be like, oh, crap, we got to sort our shit out. Like, this is not okay. And they had a tough battle against the Eels, and then they had a tough battle against the Storm. So I feel like it is definitely their best chance to win. But going back to is this their best team or chance, like team build, like at the moment with the players? Like, the players there are so good and gel well so together. Team chemistry is a huge thing. So I think like the other teams have far better players in the squad and their positions, but they don't gel as well together as the Panthers do. And that may just be because of their culture, or it could just be the players just really like each other. So it really depends on who you're bringing in next year to replace all of them, and if they're going to bond as well as they are now. So yeah. I do think it's a massive loss, Lou. Capewell and the Carlu, Burton, and isn't there another one, or is that it?
Maybe they don't know about Kikau yet.
Oh, they don't know about Kikau. Okay, so yeah, I think it's a massive loss losing those two. So it'll be hard shoes to fill. But I think, and you get to the saying where one person or two people don't make a team, but it really just breaks apart part of the team, and then some of the team comes unstable. So it'll be only next season will tell. That's my answer.
Yeah. It's like I hear people say, Penrith are so young, they could win 4 titles in 10 years. They say that about every team, and they say that, but then all of a sudden you lose the players. Like Capewell and Burton have gone this year. Kikau might leave the next year. To'o might go to another club, So it's like you've got to strike while the iron's hot, and when your window's open, your window's open. So I just think you got to take this title opportunity now. Like you can't dwell on we'll really keep building for 2023, 2024. So I think this could be their best chance, because you think the Rabbitohs, I wouldn't say they're a good side, but I wouldn't say they're a Storm level. Like we've seen some Storm teams. So yeah.
And I'll just ask you a quick question about the Panthers now. So we see Wayne Bennett. We've talked about his success and how much of a great coach he is. And Ivan Cleary, he's been in the grand final 3 times, and he hasn't won a single premiership. Do you think that's going to change? Do you think the Panthers are going to do it for it?
I'll add three times as a coach, 1 time as a player in 2002.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But I think it will. I think you sort of it starts playing into your mind. Like
Yeah.
I'll add a football reference, like Man City. Like Pep's won all these titles of
Mm.
like Premier Leagues, FA Cups, but he hasn't won the Champions League with Man City, and it really starts playing into your mind. And I think you
Yeah.
overthink it. I think he just has to play like they normally do and try and be positive. The one thing I'm worried about with Penrith is that was their grand final last week against the Storm. Did they play? Was that their grand final beating the Storm? And now that was what they've put all their focus on. But I think
Mm.
it would be awesome if he does win just because of how hard he's worked. And I think he's one of the best coaches in NRL. It'd be interesting. Just imagine if a father and son duo, captain and coach duo, wins the title. How cool would that be for something like you wouldn't see that in many other sports? You know, a father and son duo. It shouldn't work in professional sport, but they've made it so
Has
easy in an
has
island.
a father son won a premiership final in NRL?
Maybe in like the 60s, 70s, 80s, but definitely not recently. But it would be pretty impressive. But I really hope that he just goes with their normal game plan of playing
Oh,
fast, splitting it when they have the chance. I don't like. I thought last year they sort of played within themselves in the first half of the grand final
yeah.
against the Storm last year. So it would be really cool for Ivan to win one. I really hope he does because,
Same.
guys, I don't want him to overthink it. That's the big
Mm.
thing. Don't overthink it. Stick to your guns, and hopefully it will
Yeah,
come through.
definitely. Definitely.
That's really all I have for the storylines, Liam. Should we go straight into our picks and finish it off
Yeah.
after that?
Yeah. So
So,
I feel
oh,
like we've kind of really like given our picks already, but we'll get into it anyway. Let's do it.
I'll just do the note I got sent from Connor. We can't remember the podcast king, Connor Stallard. So Connor messaged me this before we went on with all the difficulties. I picked Souths to win at the start of the season, win the premiership. I'm sticking by it.
Mm.
Rabbitohs to win, and Adam Reynolds Dally M medalist. So that's his pick. Obviously, if he went, he did tell me early on the season when I was up there, up at his house, that he did think the Rabbitohs would win. So
Yeah.
he's sticking by the pick, which is fair enough. And he's gone with Adam Reynolds, which I think is a pretty safe bet as well. I
Mm.
think if the
Yeah.
Rabbitohs win, it could be anyone. But you think they seem to go with storylines for the Dally M is what another thing you realize is if they win, I wouldn't be surprised if they just gave it to Reynolds, even if he had an average game, just because it's his last ever game for
Yeah.
the club. Give it to him, you know. I'll go with my pick next. I sort of got to stick with my Cleary Dally M medalist thing because I bet on it a while, like a month ago. I got to stick with it. I'll go Penrith 1-12. Oh, I'll go Penrith 1-12. I think it will be similar to the Storm game
Yeah.
very early on. It'll be hard for teams to score, but I could also see it blowing over Penrith 13 plus at the end of the game. I
Yeah.
could easily see that happening and the Penrith boys getting on top. I could actually also see one person I didn't mention before, Brian To'o. What happens if he runs 250 meters and scores a try? He could be a guy that wins Clive Churchill that I didn't even think about, you know?
Oh.
Even Alex Johnson for the
Yeah.
Rabbitohs, he
Alex.
scores a
Yeah.
double. So it's like it could be really anyone. It's anyone's guess. But what
Mm.
do you think, Liam? What's your pick
Well,
for this grand final?
see, I just still feel like it's gonna be a hard game to pick. None the wiser. But and as I said earlier, like anything could happen on the footy field. Like as you said, Brian Tor could have an amazing game, score a couple of tries, run 250 meters. Alex Johnson could score a hat trick. But Cleary could have a shit game. Like anything could happen in this, and I gotta stick with you, Josh. I am a Cleary fan. I just love him. He's just such a great player and such a key player in this game today. And I just it's quite hard to pick. I am going to go with the Panthers here, just because I just feel like they lost last year. They've worked so hard this year. They had at the start of the season, everyone thought they were just going to roll through the whole competition, and just because they had such a good team, but and they had some down moments, but they've worked so hard to get back to the top and where they are today. So I just feel like the journey they've gone through is just incredible, and I don't know who I'd give Dally M to. If the Panthers win, Cleary, maybe Cleary, but if someone else has a brilliant game, like we said, Brian or Burton.
Yeah. Let's talk about Burton as well. Like, it could be anyone.
Yeah.
Fisher Harris.
Fisher
Could be their
Harris.
whole.
That's the one I was thinking of. Like, so
That's
many
cool.
people could win it depending on how they play the game, and the same with the Rabbitohs. But if I was, you just gotta give it to Reynolds just because he's like that's like not like he's got to have a good game obviously and win, but if you had to pick out of the team, it'd just got to be Reynolds, like just because he's
I
winning.
can see Cody Walker. I could really see Cody Walker just because he scores the tries. You know, if it's a close game, it could be a try. Like it could be a 12-0 or something, and it could be just the.
Do they normally do they give it to hookers or not really? Because they could they give it to Damien Cook or not really?
That's what I would see a lot of people saying Cook or Coruscant, but in the whole time they've had it, in the 60 years they've had the Clive Churchill medal, there's only been 3 hookers that have won, and Cameron Smith hasn't won one. When he won, like that's what I mean. It tends to go to the halves, or it tends to go to a prop, or they like either tackles, tries, or tries. You know, like or a good kicking game. So I think Cleary's a good bet. Reynolds is a good bet. Isaiah, yeah, that's what I mean. It could be anyone. If it's a close game like we think, if it's a 12-10, if Gagai scores 2 tries, he's winning it. You know what I mean? So I think is there anything else we really have to say, Liam? I think
what do the TAB odds say? Do they reckon it's gonna be a close game?
Yeah, they've got it really close. I'll just refresh it again. Penrith at the moment are $1.66 and the Rabbitohs are $2.18. So that's pretty close for an NRL game. Normally they're pretty. I think Penrith are slight favourites in this game just because you have to lose a grand final to win one. But yeah, I think that's fair odds.
Yeah,
but I think what Connor's saying with his Rabbitohs picks, like Connor thinks he's told me he's like, I guarantee the Rabbitohs are going to win this week, which I can see the theory as part of it. You know, like. I think I can see the same. I think Penrith are easily going to win, but who knows? You know, that's the problem.
Yeah,
that's tough.
It will be a good game to watch, but yeah, after the game, what are we going to do? There's not any footy on, mate.
Got to get some interviews going.
No,
yeah. You go. You finish us off.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a great game, mate. I can't wait for this. Thank you guys so much for listening. This is going to be, I reckon, one of the best and closest and tightest grand finals in a while. So I can't wait. Thanks again for listening. Make sure to check our YouTube channel out, the Head Up Podcast, our Instagram also Head Up Podcast, and give us a follow and any comments. We appreciate it. Cheers, guys.
Just before we finish, you have to lose a grand final to win one. Penrith 13+. See it. It was in the recording now.